Hey, thanks for watching today. What I'm going to be doing today is making my own duct cleaner setup for cleaning my furnace ducts. I've needed this done at home for quite a while, and it's an older house. There may be asbestos, so a lot of the companies, well, all the ones I've contacted, won't touch them until I get an abatement certificate, so I'm going to do this myself. You may have seen the duct cleaning where they use that ball with the air line and it blows air, it sucks itself down into the duct, and then as you pull it back it brings all the junk with it, and then you've got a shop vac and a cover for your for the vent. So I'm going to do this out of a table soccer or foosball ball, just a nylon plastic ball. Different sizes will work, and I'm just seeing if I can make one working for basically nothing, what I've got laying around the garage. So first, I'm going to drill into it so I can mount my air fitting. This is just a cheap old M fitting. I was going to just fill it with JB weld, stick this in there and let it set up, but I happen to have a tap around the right size, so I'm going to do that, and then I'll drill the other holes accordingly. So let's get started. So first we're just going to drill a pilot hole. Don't go too deep, you don't want to go all the way through, because then you'll have to plug that. If you do go all the way through, a little bit of JB weld epoxy will do it just fine, I'm sure. And of course, the drill bit is a little big for that drill. And this was marked for a different project, just marking the depth on it, I believe. Well, let's see if this will fit. And that one won't fit either. I'm going to be back with a different drill. Okay, this is absolutely overkill, but it was the first drill I had around that that had a chuck big enough to fit the drill bit. Okay, there we go. We got the hole drilled in there. Just going to open up the first part of it a little bit so it's easier to start the tap. Nylon like this, you can just do it by hand. You don't really need a tap handle on there. Now if you got one handy, not a problem. And again, if you don't have a tap and die set lying around, get the threads in there, put some grease, some Vaseline or something on the threads, fill the hole with some 2-part epoxy, and it should work just fine. So with this, I shouldn't have pulled that out because then it's hard to get the thread started in the right spot. So I want to get enough threads in there that this can really grab. Another way you could do this, I've had to do this in the past when I haven't had an appropriate sized die for it. If you heat the piece up and force it in, this only works on plastic, of course. But if you heat it up and then force it into the hole you've drilled, it will help cut the threads in, and once it cools off, they back out pretty nicely, and you've got some threads left. Again, not the ideal way of doing it, but we are trying to do it backyard mechanic style. So that is very secure. And I'll get some Teflon tape on there when I'm done. Now we're going to drill the ports around here now. So we're done with this big guy. So we're going to drill in at an angle, and we're going to try to get right down to the base there of the hole. We don't want these holes to interfere with the threads. So there's one. I'm not sure if you can see that get right down into there. Again, I could be doing this on the drill press, but not everyone has a drill press in their garage. I spent many years without a drill press or a little lathe or anything but some really crappy corded drills, angle grinders, things like that. But I've built cars with less. So let's see. Oops, I did two holes side by side there. I didn't realize that. So let's get a couple more holes in there. But you want to try to get these at a good angle so they'll help pull the hose down into the duct. just got into the bottom there. Well, I think that should be good for a test. Going to throw some Teflon tape on there, on the threads here. And I'm going to get my air compressor turned on, and I'm sure you don't want to listen to that old compressor run. So I'll be back in a bit. I'll get this installed, and we'll see how it works with the air. Back in a minute. All right, I only put about 40 pounds of pressure into the compressor. Enough to give it a try. Get your Teflon tape on there because we don't need any leaks. I wouldn't use pipe dope, the paste or liquid stuff on this. Just because with those little holes, I wouldn't want it to get plugged up with it if some dripped in there. Then you're just back to drilling it out and doing more work for nothing. The tape is cheap, and for what I'm doing here, it is just good enough. Gas line, a little bit different. You want to make sure that is sealed up tight. I know some guys who insist on using tape and pipe dope. On gas lines at least. Well, 40 pounds, let's see, this is just gonna blow air through it, but I wanna see if I can feel any pull on it at 40 pounds. Well, I'm going to go for higher pressure. I'm going to put it up to about 90 pounds and see how that works. But it's definitely looking like the ones you can buy online for $50 or $100. This cost nothing. I had all this stuff lying around. I've had a couple of foosball tables, and when I sold one of them, I don't think I gave all the balls with it, so probably why I still got this one around. Just gonna clean these up a little bit by hand. But yeah, I'll be back in a few minutes with more air pressure and see how this moves. And another day, I am going to actually do the duct cleaning. I'm going to show how this works with the duct cleaning. I'm going to make a cover that goes over the ducts where your shop vac can attach, and a hole for your airline to go through. I think I'm going to find a smaller diameter, stiffer airline. This one's pretty old and beat up anyways, so I could use a new one. And all I've really got around here is very long, very heavy duty ones. So if you get one that's 3/8 or 1/2 inch, the more rigid plastic, not completely rigid, will still bend, but it's not quite as floppy. I think that's going to do you a lot better. But I'm going to try this out with more pressure, and then I'm going to run to the hardware store for the airline and a few bits. Then I'll figure out what to make the cover out of. I've got some 3/8 inch plexi I could make it out of, but again, that's not something that everybody has lying around in their garage. So I'll see if I can figure out a very simple cover to make. I was even thinking about a pop bottle cut down over a wood frame, just so you've got a viewing window, you can see what's coming out. I don't know how strong that would be, so I'm going to play around with it a little bit. I might even just go for like a food storage container, a clear one, and then put some weather stripping on the bottom for a seal. You really don't need much for this. You've got air blowing, you've got the furnace blowing, and you've got the vacuum sucking. So I'll be back, we'll see how this moves, and then I'll go get the rest of my materials. Back in a bit. All right, well, I do need a on-off valve for this, but let's see how this goes for now with 90 pounds. I'm putting my goggles on for this one. I think that'll be just fine getting down the duct. I'm pushing a lot of junk out of there. All right. Yeah, I found a clear container. I'm going to grab that, drill a couple of holes in it so I can epoxy in some pipe that will fit into my Shop Vac. So that'll be coming up in a bit, and hopefully by this weekend I can take a video of everything working together.